We have a very special guest today, someone who has been at the forefront of digital education, a pioneer in marketing innovation, founder of businesses like Digital Gurukul, which was awarded Asia's Best Digital Marketing Institute and more than 12 plus additional awards. He is a mentor for 50 plus organizations across Asia with 15 plus national and international awards. He has been awarded Asia's Best Digital Marketer Award 2018, Young Entrepreneur Award 2018, and Brand Leadership Award 2019. Please welcome Dr. Raj Padihar. Welcome to the show, sir. We're glad to have you. Digital marketing today is nothing like it was a decade ago. There was a time when businesses were just beginning to explore online advertising, and now we have AI-driven campaigns, we have immersive experiences. You've witnessed this transformation firsthand. So can you take us through your journey and how did you step into this space and how has the landscape changed over the years?
Yeah, thank you, Meek, and for inviting me for the podcast. And about digital marketing, definitely it was my passion and my zeal to build my career in digital. But I am an accidental entrepreneur, Meek. Like I tell you that I entered into this industry in the 2008, where it was not called digital marketing. It was like a social media was growing, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. So I was quite fascinated about the social media platforms, how the Google works, how the social media works, how the advertisement works. So I was quite fascinated about it. Then I did my MBA, and then I went into the corporate, and I was parallelly exploring digital, working on a couple of projects in digital. And then I thought of venturing full-time into the entrepreneurship, and digital marketing was my core passion area. So that is how I basically started our digital academy. When we say about digital marketing, people generally have idea at social media, about the graphics designing, Canva. These are some of the things that people understand about digital. But digital marketing is more than just a tool, more than just a template. It's all about understanding the human behavior and the pattern, and understanding and analyzing the pattern and creating campaigns in such a way so that it directs the user. So that was I was quite passionate about, because I like to read human behavior, how basically people behave in a country like India, where we have a massive demographic dividend. So that is how I understood marketing is a very creative field, and through which I wanted to inculcate all the practical learning, because what we learn in the college, in the school, is practically nothing. It's all the theoretical stuff, same old school books, all the assignments, exams, the marks and everything. So our entire education was defined by the marks. But when you go out in the market, it's practically what they need is a skill set. They need is basically what you exactly understand. So I saw the massive gap in that, and that is what I realized, that okay, digital plus a practical education, that is a need of the hour, and I basically combined both, and that is how the born of Digital Gurukul happened, not in Bombay but is in Indore. And I was fortunate enough to train students in the practical aspect of digital, and till now we have trained around 55,000 students, not only in Bombay, Indore, but across Asia, giving the students, giving the working professional, giving the freelancer the much needed skill set, so that they can build their startups, they can make their career out of it. Those who are housewives, they can start their second innings with the digital screen, with the work from home opportunities. And also considering the social initiative, because digital skills is the most important thing. Like we say, our Prime Minister is taking the initiative to make the India digitalized. So we also understand our social responsibilities, and we tied up with a couple of NGOs, not only in India, but we also have done a couple of sessions in Pakistan as well. We have done sessions in Nigeria as well. We've done sessions in Dubai as well, to empower the skills of the students and working professionals. So that is how something the journey from the college student here at NM and to the entrepreneurship, that was a very fascinating and very, I will say, very roller coaster ride for entrepreneurship that I had.
Yes, that's an incredible journey. And then you went to build Digital Gurukul as well. So, sir, can you just give us a brief about what is Digital Gurukul and give us some information about how all this works?
So Digital Gurukul, as you say, the name is Gurukul, right? So when we hear about Gurukul, it's like an ancient education. We add up a digital touch. It's like a teaching the modern skill set in the ancient Gurukul way, but we are stick to only the core skill set of digital. So when we even if you see Shark Tank, right? So the what generally happens on Shark Tank India is the startup comes, they pitch their idea, they show okay, I have this e-commerce store और मुझे उसकी advertisement करनी है, मैंने इतनी sale करी है, now I give us the funding and I will basically do this marketing, will do this marketing, will do this thing. So basically everything comes around on the one thing. If you want to do startup, you need to have a digital skill. If you want to do marketing, you need to have a digital skills. If you want to go into the job market, you need to do a digital skill. If you want to become content creator, influencer, you need a digital skills. You want to do freelancing, okay, during the COVID, you see there are many freelancers used to earn huge amount of stuff by working in Goa, working in Himachal or many exotic places, and they have actually built their career out of it. Many of it want to become a blogger, many of want to become an e-commerce executive. There are huge career opportunities which are out there, and even right now you see the AI is demolishing everything. So you look at ChatGPT, you look at Grok. So in our academy, we teach more than 100 plus AI tools. These are just a snapshot. So what we have witnessed, it's the ocean of AI which is growing like anything, and that would be the future. So digital marketing with AI, I guess that would be the future, and that is something we are training to the B2C segment. We also train the couple of corporate clients, politicians, film celebrities as well into digital branding and digital marketing, because you know how important the digital branding for everyone it is. So that is the most important skill. And right now we are doing a podcast, right? So that is also the form of the content which gonna people gonna consume on YouTube, people gonna consume on Instagram Reels as well. So we are but just delivering the content to the audience what they like to see. So that is something we are very fortunate enough to train into these diverse skill set that we are fortunate enough to do that.
That sounds like real hard work, sir. But you've done it so successfully, and now let's take a little break from this serious conversation and play a few fun games. We often hear a lot of misconceptions about digital marketing. Let's play a game called Digital Mythbusters. So I'll throw a statement at you and you tell me if it's true or false and why. So for example, the first statement is SEO is dead.
See, SEO, those who say SEO is dead, I guess they are not able to rank their website on Google, and that is their frustration they are basically putting. So when you talk about SEO, it started from 1994, starting from the first web-based crawler engine, which is Lycos. And from 1994 till 2025, the SEO industry itself has evolved over a period of time. It has seen Lycos, it has seen the era of Yahoo, it has seen the era of Google, it has seen era of social media, it has seen the era of social commerce, it has seen the era of social media as well. Now it is seeing the era of ChatGPT. So now all our searches are happening on ChatGPT, Grok, or Meta AI, or Cloud, or any other AI model. So, but the base of the AI is all about research. So now the pattern of research has basically changed, platform has changed, but the curiosity of the user is not changed. So you need to be front as a business, you need to be front of them whenever they are searching. So if they are searching on Google, you need to be there. If they are searching on ChatGPT, you need to be there. If they are searching on YouTube, you need to be there. If they are searching on apps, you need to be there. So it's just about brand need to understand the platforms, and the ocean of SEO and the context has basically changed. You need to be relevant as it is. So those who say SEO is dead, they need to at least understand the basics of SEO.
Yeah. Okay, so the second myth is myth or reality is more followers means more success.
See, it all depends on what is your core USP is. So when you say, let's say if I'm running a business, what I'll do with more followers if they're not converting into the revenue, right? If you are a content creator, you can definitely monetize your follower by pitching to the different brands that, okay, I have a followers, this is the engagement rate, this is the KPI, and you can crack a good deal as well. So more followers depends on which category that you are into, not only on Instagram but also on different social media platforms. So now I guess you might be hearing that yesterday our Prime Minister joined another new social media platform, which is Truth Social, right? So the number of social media platform is definitely increasing. It's not just about the follower, it's all about what ultimately your business growth is. So obviously your KPI would be very different and my KPI would be very different. If it's not getting achieved, then it's useless in case even if you have 1 million, 2 million followers.
Yeah, true. Okay, the third one is email marketing is outdated.
Outdated. Okay. See, I'll give you very interesting understanding about email marketing. So we used to teach that in our class. So generally we ask student what do you think about email marketing. So generally people say it's dead, it's out. Right now we're using WhatsApp, we're not using email. It's a spam. Who reads email? So now in the B2B space, in the B2C space as well, still if you open your inbox right now, you'll still get an email from Zomato, from Zepto, from Amazon, from Flipkart. You name any D2C company or all top companies, they are still emailing you in the age of 2025. So it means email marketing has definitely true potential. And let me give you one very interesting statistics, that email marketing in a B2B space has a highest ROI compared to all the digital media, and that is 4,800%. The data is still available on Google, you can just check it out. So I'll give you in a very simple analogy, if you're spending 100 rupees on email, you are getting a 4,800 rupees in return. So you can imagine the underrated power of email marketing. It's just that people tend to spam with the different things. You need to understand you're sending an email is not a robot, it's a human. You need to consider and draft your email accordingly. So that is how there are certain nuances that need to be very focusful when it comes to email.
Yeah, that's true, sir. Okay, so the last one is AI will replace digital marketers.
See, I feel that AI will replace those digital marketer who just copy paste the content, focus on the templates. They just do a random basics digital. Though AI will replace those, but digital marketing, like I initially mentioned, is more than about just the templates, more than about just a website. It is about understanding the human mindset, understand about the behavior, and AI can't replace, because behind AI there is a human which is controlling, right? So because right now there is a AI buzz, everyone in our class as well, during our sessions which I go, this is a common question that I keep on getting it: will AI replace digital marketer? Will digital marketing will vanish after AI, because everything is getting done with AI? So this is my common answer: the technology still will be evolving. There would be need of quality digital marketer, and at the end of the day, it's a creativity which will win the race, and it's a human being which always be at the front end when it comes to creativity. It's just that the efficiency would definitely increase. It's just that the work that we used to do. For example, I want to launch any product campaign on digital, I need to do market research. Maybe with the use of AI, I can reduce my research time from, let's say, 100% to maybe 10%, 20% of time. But when it comes to the campaigns and everything, it's still the human understanding and creativity which will win the race.
Wow, sir. We would have never thought of it this way. Now, I'll describe an emerging digital marketing tool or trend without naming it, and you will have to try to guess it and just give us a brief about that tool. So the first one is, when you're scrolling through your feed and suddenly you see an ad featuring on your name or something you were just talking about with a friend. It's as if the brand knows exactly what you need before you even search for it. This approach is making ads feel more personal and increasing engagement like never before.
Perfect. See, generally on a very simplistic term, this is called as a hyper personalization of advertisement. But I'll give you a very simple example how it is run actually. So you might have experienced this. Let's say you're having discussion with your friends. Let's say let's go out for a party. Let's go out with this restaurant. I want to buy this. Immediately the product pops up on Facebook and Instagram, right? So now as a advertiser, there are a couple of features which are there. So on Meta advertisement, you can use the Advantage Plus audience campaign. So if you're using that, the Meta automatically capture who is the right target audience for this particular product. So let's say I have my shoes brand, and let's say you both are discussing about the shoes, sports shoes, and Meta immediately recognize that you might be the potential audience. So the Meta will start showing you the different categories and different products related to the sports shoes category. Okay, so that is some of the very smart feature on the Meta platform when we talk about Facebook and Instagram. On Twitter as well, you might have seen, on LinkedIn as well, on Spotify as well, on Quora as well, on Snapchat as well. So these are all the different social media platforms through which you can also do hyper personalization advertisement. And also there is a concept of remarketing. So for example, you went to the website, you didn't make any purchase, so the same product will shown to different platforms. You'll start getting the mails and WhatsApp, okay, why you left that particular product in the cart, I'll give you the additional coupon as well. So that concept is called as a remarketing. So if you are combining the hyper personalized marketing with the remarketing, the magic appears in terms of the revenue.
Yeah, true. Yes sir. Okay, so the second one is, you open a brand's website and instead of clicking through menus, you just ask a question and an intelligent assistant gives you exactly what you need. It's like having a personal shopper or customer service with you available 24/7 without any wait time. So what is this?
This we generally AI chatbot, or maybe you can call it as a AI personalization. This is generally a part of our syllabus as well. We used to teach that is part of the chatbot. So now there are different types of chatbot. So there is a normal chatbot, there are a couple of intelligent chatbot, there are some AI chatbot. Now there is a LLM chatbots which has been come into the picture. So now you can integrate any type of chatbot also onto the social media platforms, specifically on our WhatsApp. So you might have seen there are a couple of platforms who are integrated. You type message, you'll get a reply. You type message, you'll get a reply. So these are dedicated chatbot built on WhatsApp as well. There are a couple of tools which you can use to build the chatbot on WhatsApp, like Interact, like Wati. Also on Facebook, on Instagram, you can also build a custom chatbot as well. There are a couple of websites like Chatfuel where you can build this chatbot and integrate onto a website. So if anyone is coming to your website, you can integrate the AI. So for example, let's say you are heading the eCell, right, the Innovate. So you can actually make a website, you can put a chatbot on your website, you can deposit all the repository about all the speakers out there. So anyone comes to the website and asks about who is this speaker, what is his profile, or okay, which date that you did the session. So on the basis of the repository, the chatbot will immediately answer all the queries of the users. So that is how basically the different use cases are built upon, and most of the D2C brands or startup brands or companies are using the chatbot maybe for the customer support, for a B2B, and for the marketing and sales as well.
Yeah, that was so smart. So the third one is, you're searching a product online and instead of typing, you just snap a picture of something you like. Instantly, the search engine pulls up similar items, colors, and styles, making shopping feel effortless and more visual. So, what is that?
That is just like your I don't know, voice search optimization, or VSO that we smartly called as. You just need to put up a picture either on Google. There is a option on Google where you can upload an image, and automatically it will detect the entire image and give you the similar products as well, right? So that happens on the different apps as well. And also there are a couple of AI tools like Google AI Studio. You can just put up the pictures over there. I guess a couple of days back, Google also launched their new AI model with the image editing function as well. So that also can be integrated upon the same as well. So for example, right now, let's say I have a phone, I want to change the color of the phone, I want to have a similar phone as well, what are the product pricing and everything. So these are also the multiple use cases that can be built upon. But like, I connect this with the SEO as well, like we were discussing about SEO. So for example, all the brands, apart from their web optimization, they also need to do a product optimization as well, voice optimization, like we talk about Alexa, okay, the Google as well. Okay, so these are kind of the voice assistants. So when someone is asking to voice assistants, you need to optimize for the same. If someone is asking to ChatGPT, you need to optimize your website content as well. So we have also, like, if you go to our blog section, we have integrated the voice option. So all the blogs are converted into this entire voice stuff. So you can also convert your entire podcast into voice, and that would be optimized when someone search in the ChatGPT, which is the best podcast on this topic in Mumbai. There might be your podcast might come onto the top.
Thank you, sir. So these are some terms we have never heard before, which you told, like for example, hyper personalization, AI personalization. It's enlightening. It's enlightening how far digital marketing and AI has come. Now back to your journey. Alongside building digital Gurukul, you've also written extensively about the digital space. Like one of your books, Social Media and Politics in India, is particularly intriguing. What inspired you to write it, and what's the biggest takeaway from your research?
See, social media, like I said, I was there into this domain since 2008, and I was on Twitter, follow all the politicians, all the celebrities, and from 2008 till I written this book, I've seen many of the instances, many of the nuances, many of the fights, many of the different unique experiences on social media. Election is a part and parcel of India. Every year there is an election in different part of the country, and in every election we see different campaigns, different political parties with a different agenda, and with our Prime Minister also focusing on digital platform. And I'll tell you very interesting insight that their party cell during 2016 issued the circular to all the people, contesting person who want to contest for any of the election. They need to have their Twitter presence. Way back, I'm talking about 2016-17, where hardly politicians were there on Twitter, that they need to have their Twitter presence, they need to have their Facebook presence with a minimum 10,000 follower in order to eligible for getting a ticket for that particular constituency. So that is how all the political parties, all the candidates started, going into the social media space as well. And even if you see since last couple of years, the social media, the power of social media, one tweet can crash the stock price. The one viral story basically can destroy any business. One Instagram reel, even if you look at the food farmer, their entire journey, it can basically impact the legacy brands like anything. And in the same case of politicians as well, one tweet by Donald Trump or Elon Musk basically can change the geopolitics that we have seen into the Russia-Ukraine case as well, specifically with the India as well. So that entire nuances I tried to combine and compile into my book, which is a Social Media and Politics in India. And it is basically not a typical theoretical book that we generally see. It has all the practical understanding with the practical case studies, some of the statistics covering wide range of elections as well, and being fortunate enough to consult multiple politicians for the election campaigns as well. And it has been reviewed by the top political analysts and some of the people from IPAC as well. Prashant Kishore ji has reviewed the book and given a good feedback. So I've been very fortunate enough to share my anecdote and experiences on the political side as well, and specifically with the digital domain, because that is changing like anything. So it was my honor to share my insights, and this is not the end. I'm also publishing the third version, because now if you see the AI thing, there are a couple of AI mock-ups, AI face web, and couple of AI stuff which is going on. voice cloning and everything, that is also impacting the voters' behavior and which party to vote as well. So obviously that entire technology change would surely impact. And if you see last couple of days, Grok is also making a dent into the political landscape. They are also impacting the politics as well. So you see every week there is something about the technology which is impacting the politics. So I want to compile all the anecdotes into my next book on the social media.
Yes, so we'll be waiting for that.
For sure.
Okay, sir. That's so relevant, especially in today's digital age where social media can shape political narrative. Speaking of the future, where do you see edtech and digital marketing heading in the next 5 years?
See, next 5 years I see the students are getting more smarter than they used to be. Teachers are still at their stage. Okay, they used to be 5 years, 10 years back. I feel students are the new teachers. Certificates, degrees will become obsolete. The skills would be very much important, and the digital media obviously would be the top 3 skill set in the world, which is right now it is there. And the edtech definitely would be growing. It is just about how we leverage in the country like India, where the importance of English is also very important. हिंदी की भी बहुत ही इतनी इम्पोर्टेंस है, गुजराती पण बहुत जरूरी है, एंड मराठी पण खूब जरूरी है. So these are the regional language. If we inculcate and basically personalize the education into the ground level, that is how we'll have a true impact about the technology into the India.
Yes, sir. And with AI disrupting nearly every industry, digital marketing is no exception. How do you see AI integrated into digital marketing strategies? Like, what can AI enhance out of digital marketing?
See, AI, if I tell you, when we started integrating the AI into our existing digital marketing curriculum, so we have seen every aspect of digital. You talk about content creation, you talk about graphics designing, you talk about content writing, you talk about website designing. There are many AI tools which are there, which you just need to put up the URL, you just need to put up the concept, and the website is created. There are a couple of SEO tools as well. You just need to put up a couple of prompts as well, the entire SEO audit which comes out. There are a couple of copywriting tools as well, so you can basically just write down the product, it will create a copywriting as well. There are e-commerce related websites. You just put up the concept and name, entire e-commerce website is created. There are guerrilla marketing, there are viral marketing, there are growth hacking. These are all the diverse domain where AI is impacting, slowly, steadily, and every day we are seeing. So I spent a dedicated 2 hours every week for understand new AI tools as well. And till now, I have researched more than 1,000 AI tools till now since last 1.5 years. So I see, this innovation is going at such a rapid pace. It is not only just impacting digital marketing, it is impacting the finance industry as well. So if you look at all the CAs, okay, so you go to any CA office, most of the 50-60% work is basically getting done by the AI tools, ChatGPT, and it is impacting almost all the industry. It is just that people are not discussing because speed इतनी fast है कि वो catch करने से पहले और ज़्यादा fast जा रही है. So so that is, the speed is very fast. So for students, it's very important to at least realize the potential of AI and digital and basically start making the best out of it.
Yes, sir. I can totally see how AI will transform digital marketing and take it to great heights. This has been a very insightful and eye-opening conversation. But let's end it on a lighter note. We have a few more fun games with you. You've worked with many clients. Some requests must have been very unique. So let's do a role play called Client Conundrums. So I'll present a hypothetical marketing challenge and you have to give your expert solution on it. So for example, the first issue is a new eco-friendly fashion brand struggling to stand out online.
Can you just come again?
So a new eco-friendly fashion brand struggling to stand out online.
See, if they are struggling to come online, they need to first do some of the pilot testing, build some e-commerce website, and for e-commerce space, I have a couple of suggestions. that you keep a very limited inventory. Okay, make a website open only for 1 hour, only for weekend, evening 10 to 11, and just make sure you offer in India the SST model, that is Sasta, Sundar and Tikau. That is the golden formula for any D2C startup to succeed in Indian market at least. So you basically make a very cheap product. Okay, when I say cheap, there might be different version, but you offer a very basic product and at least gain the virality for the same as well. You can also compile some of the guerrilla marketing as well, where let's say it's a eco-friendly product as well. So make sure you drive some virality campaign on ground as well to activate the PR coverage and everything. And also you can give a surprise and integrate the influencer marketing, where you can deliver this eco-friendly product to the doorstep of any celebrity and ask them not to do a paid promotion, but maybe it might be a news that okay, someone kept it, we don't know, there is some news story which is out there. Okay, so that can be a very interesting case, but obviously once I go detail into the product USP category, I can offer my more expertise for the same.
Yes, sir. So the second situation is a local bakery trying to expand without a big budget, because we've seen like many small businesses, and during COVID especially, there were many home bakers who came up, and there were many homemakers who started to sell online and were basically growing, but they don't have a big budget to invest. So how can they scale up the business, and any suggestions on that?
See, local bakery is something where the USP for any local bakery is basically how the ingredients that you are using into all the different bakery items, how it is healthy for my health. Because all the bakery products that you see, they are actually not healthy for our body. So if we are basically trying to put the background of how basically the ingredients are basically used, how they are sourced, and basically highlighting the background story of all the products that which are there. Secondly, I would note down all the celebrities, their birthdays, their anniversary, and I'll basically deliver a small cookies which is not hard to my budget, and just give a small handwritten note that okay, happy birthday. Let's say if there is an X celebrity, deliver to that note. If they like it, they can just post it on the social media. Because I'll give you one very interesting instance. There is one bakery in Andheri, I don't remember the name. Shah Rukh Khan on Twitter, okay, regularly host Ask SRK thing. So generally when he's free, he just do a hashtag Ask SRK. If you want to ask a question, you tag and you do this thing. So one of the lady, she asked the question. It was, I guess, his birthday, Shah Rukh's birthday. So she just said that okay, I just started a bakery. I would like to gift you the customized cake. I would be glad if you can just accept. Shah Rukh just mentioned, okay, you can deliver to Mannat, I would be happy to taste. So what the lady did, she screenshot this entire conversation, put it on the cake, delivered to Mannat, and Shah Rukh actually tasted and put it the review that okay, this was a very good cake. Imagine Shah Rukh, you had tapped Shah Rukh, which takes around 10-15 CR worth rupees advertisement, and he is posting about your bakery, and that bakery got hugely famous. I'll just research about the name. So that was the very interesting growth hack that she did, and she become extremely famous. So that is something which I see a huge potential.
Yeah, that is a great idea, sir. The last one is a startup with a viral product but no long-term strategy, because like even students right now, they have a idea of a viral product or a business, they have a startup idea, but they don't think long-term. So what is the long-term strategy, and how should a viral product, like one, for example, there is this a food dish called chocolate strawberry, like the strawberries, they put chocolate on it and they sell it, and it is very famous among students. So like how do you think that such businesses grow in long term?
See, these businesses grow the viral product that typically grows long term when you run a competition. So I see, let's say you are having this viral product that you mentioned. You can create a competition. Whoever basically drink it, or maybe will be drink it in this second, or maybe maximum glass as well, they'll be winning basically X amount. You do a live streaming for this entire event. You do that regularly. You invite celebrities to try that thing as well. That will basically create a curiosity out of it. You can also do some of the fake stunts as well. Basically, someone is drinking it and maybe something happened and then they're going. So that will also garner some of the press coverage. I'm going very raw into this marketing. That is how you get a completely free coverage as well. And if you see these are some of the stunt. There are a couple of Delhi-based a blogger has also tried. You might have seen on Instagram. Calcutta-based some of the whale stuff as well. अगर आपने देखा रहेगा Instagram पे, they are also getting famous just because of this thing. So this is kind of some of the viral growth hacking strategies that you need to adopt onto your product as well, so that at least it gets viral on social media, because social media is just not about engagement, likes, it's all about virality as well. So how you're tapping into the emotions, and emotions are basically tapped. So generally you share only couple of stories which are which makes you very sad, which makes you very angry, which makes you very excited, and these are a couple of emotions that you need to tap. So through this different activity, if you're tapping that emotion, that has a huge virality stuff, and that can make your business very viral. But even after virality, you need to have a good business model as well. मेरा वीडियो वायरल हो गया, but I don't have a sufficient inventory to justify कि अभी मेरे पास inventory नहीं है, and also अगर मेरे पास franchisee model नहीं है proper, let's say आपका business viral हो गया, getting a franchisee inquiry out of this is the common case that we've seen, because couple of our startup went into the Shark Tank India as well, and they faced a similar situation that okay, they got virality, they got famous, they got orders, but they're not able to sustain, they're not able to cater to that demand. So that is also the plan B has to be ready, that okay, once I start getting a good demand, then in the long term, how I'm gonna cater to the increased demand as well.
Yeah, right, sir. I would have never been able to think of such solutions. Now, for a final game, like would you market it? So I'll pitch some bizarre product ideas, and you have to come up with a marketing strategy for them, as if I'm coming to you as a client, and you just give your opinion on how I can grow this business.
Okay.
So there's this one product, scented laptop cases.
Scented laptop cases. Okay. Very interesting. Scented laptop cases. I would be first identify the target audience being the freelancer, the working professional, and the CXO and CEO, and I'll make it as a very premium thing. Maybe I would make the scented cover as a character, and this character would basically go to a different coffee shops, different offices, and basically it will have a scent, and it will try to go to the office desk, and the entire scenario would be filmed and live streamed on YouTube and Instagram, and it will do some fun exercise, it will do some fun magic with their actual laptop as well, and the interaction, that can be one of the scenario that I can think of. There are many, obviously. Maybe also some of the ad campaigns can be run upon, some of the what we can say, influencer campaigns also can be run upon, and the same as well, where you see the typical perfume advertisement where if I'm getting the good smell or of that particular case, then immediately you start getting promotion. Okay, you start getting a huge salary hike as well. Okay, so that kind of creative ad copies also can be made upon.
Thank you, that was a great idea. So the second product is a pillow that tweets your dreams.
A pillow that tweets your dream. Okay. Okay, so when you talk about tweeting, I assume that celebrities, influencer would be the main target audience for this particular product. Then for pillow, I feel that if influencer campaign, let's say tomorrow any celebrity tweets that okay, this dream has been posted, I don't know how it got posted, okay, and suddenly there are a couple of celebrity influencers start posting their wildest dream. We can also run some of the hashtag campaigns, okay, viral a tweet or whatever hashtag that we finalize, and then that creates a curiosity as well. We can put up some of the talking devices under the pillow as well, and we can put it random places, and once in the restaurant it start, or maybe in the hotels as well. Basically we can create this kind of scenario, and we start speaking. Okay, in the night suddenly says, okay, you're thinking about that as well, and we can tag that thing. We can do influencer collaboration or some celebrities as well. So you can imagine Shah Rukh Khan, you can imagine Salman Khan. In the night, Shah Rukh Khan pillow is speaking to Salman Khan, okay, how his revenue is growing, and this entire conversation is basically creating in a very interesting environment. Like you see the Dream 11 advertisement with the multi-influencer campaign, so that has a huge virality stuff that can be done upon.
Thank you, sir. So the last one is a smart spoon that rates your food.
Smart spoon that rates your food. Okay. I guess Food Farmer would be the ideal brand ambassador for this thing, and maybe this particular smart spoon can be given to the restaurant owner to understand what food quality that they are using, and we can have a barometer 0 to 10. So maybe 2, 4 rating which are there, so it will accordingly rate as well. There are couple of activities where people can go to the housewife, and they can put up the spoon, okay, which food that you are whether your food is basically nutrition proper or not, and then accordingly that can be leveraged upon. And also it can be done as a subscription model, I feel. So in case those who are very health conscious, then they can take this health spoon as well on a subscription model, and we can give them the 3 months free subscription as a initial viral marketing campaign for the same.
Thank you, sir. That was brilliant. So before we wrap up, what's one piece of advice you'd give to young marketers and entrepreneurs, especially students of NMIMS, looking to make an impact in the digital market?
See, NMIMS itself is a very premier institution. The students are very bright. So I don't think I need to give them the any specific advice, but the general observation about what's happening on digital media, that you need to focus on the AI as early and as in depth as possible. Don't focus on certification, focus on learning new things every day, and also focus on diverse stuff which are happening. Make the entrepreneurs, startup founder who are making as your idol compared to the politicians, celebrities, Bollywood celebs, or maybe some of the influencer, because that is how you're gonna understand how the world is moving, what is shaping them, and how it is evolve in the next 5-10 years as well. I'll tell you, there is new age technology, like we are mentioning. The blockchain is growing, the crypto is growing like anything. The product marketing is growing, the data science is growing on, AI is going on superb, and digital media, digital marketing also growing at a super fast scale. So these are the emerging skill set which has given the individual and students a platform. In case they want to build a startup, you see the Shark Tank India. I mean, the 19-year, 20-year-old Gen Z, they are basically, getting 1 CR revenue with $1 million valuation as well. Someone is building their career, startups, freelancing. So when we think about career, we typically think after graduation, we will think about MBA, and then our career will be automatically done. So the career, the line for making the career after MBA has kind of blurred. Now the new age line for the career is, I feel, around 21 or 22. Then that particular line, you need to be settled down. If that is not done, I guess you need to start thinking more that, okay, how it's going on.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. So one last final question, because I as a student, I'm in second year right now. I'll be going into the third year, and we have an option of finance or marketing in third year in NMIMS BBA. So I, as in my liking is more towards marketing, but I always wonder, like, why not finance? Like, what are the jobs? Because there's a typical myth, or you can also say we've seen often that people in finance often earn more than in marketing. So, like, what do you think are more like any opportunities we have, or what can why would you tell someone to take marketing? For example, I want to take marketing. So, what are some future opportunities, and how can I scale up in future, and what all I can do in marketing?
See, what I feel is you're just narrowing down yourself to a marketing in finance, and that is the analogy which is given to since last many years. You go to MBA, marketing, finance, and HR. You go to bachelor's. There are a couple of typical specialization options that people have. What my understanding out of going through every specialization and everything in the last 12-15 years is that you should be very curious about anything that you are going into. So you're going into the finance, okay, you should be asking a very kiddish question about finance. Why this is happening, why the returns are filed, what are the things that I can do in finance, what are the fintech startup, what they're building upon, not only in India but outside world, which idea they're working on. You have the AI to your help as well. Take the help of AI. Then you're gonna understand, okay, finance was the domain that I actually understood from a different perspective, because obviously you'll be having discussion with your friends. You might be saying अच्छा नहीं finance में अच्छा है, marketing अच्छा है. So वो दोनों चीज़ के अंदर we basically have understanding कि अच्छा नहीं इसमें अच्छा scope हो सकता है, इसमें salary अच्छी मिली, let's go to that domain as well. But ultimately, if you gain a very depth expertise into that particular domain, let's say I'm going into marketing, so it's not just because he said, or basically he said, but I should be having a depth curiosity about everything about marketing. If I'm going into the finance, every depth about curiosity about marketing, why this is happening, read about the case studies. And it's not just about going onto the any random topic. I mean, here also you can think about what can be the financial model for this light, what can be financial model of, let's say, this TV projector, this college as well. So that is how you can have a curiosity, you can have very basic understanding. Let's you take a marketing, you understand, let's say I given you this projector as a marketing, okay, so how you'll do marketing for this, how you'll do marketing for CCTV, how you're going to do marketing for lights as well, how you're going to do marketing for bottles as well. So that curiosity that you need to have, then you go to search what are the top players which are there, what campaigns they are running, who are the marketing head, connect with them on LinkedIn as well, check their Instagram, check their marketing case studies as well, check out their case studies, that what they are doing exactly in the marketing. So these type of childlike curiosity if you have, wherever you sit for an interview, right, ultimately you're learning everything that you can crack the interview and get a job, right? So if you're sitting in the interview, if I'm taking an interview and you share all these insights with me, sir, okay, we can do this, okay, for this company I research about this thing, I'll ask you cross questions as well that only can be answered if you are basically done this kind of stuff. And then it's my fault if I'm not able to pick you up, right? Then you have the command in the interview, okay, whatever your expertise and whatever your expectation need to meet up until or it should not be otherwise, that okay, you are at the mercy of the interviewer, okay, please मेरे को job दे दो, अरे नहीं मैं कर लूँगा, what is there after 5 years, 3 years, okay? So that has to be there, the curiosity has to be there, and that will make you either digital marketer or finance expert or any domain that you go into.
Yeah. Thank you so much, sir. Such valuable takeaways. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure learning from you.